going on, everyone? From Forward Progress, I'm Rob Pizzola. This is On the Clock. It's the show where we put ourselves in the shoes of an NFL general manager and we draft for their team just like they're going to be doing on Thursday night. Today, we are drafting for the Detroit Lions. And who better to draft for the Detroit Lions than the man, the myth, the legend, big Jeff Nadu lover, Joey Knish.
I mean, the beautiful thing about this year is we don't even need any players to win the North. We've already got the team ready. This is all bonus talent here. So excited to add some more players. Hey, when we draft them, first thing we ask them, what's your ring size, baby? Because at the end of the year, you're going to be getting fitted for one in this organization.
This is exactly what I hoped this wouldn't devolve into in the first minute, but we're here. We might as well embrace it with a Lions fan. Excited, obviously, Aaron Rodgers no longer in the division as well, so things are on the up and up for the Lions, Knish.
I mean, listen, after the end of last year, you knew he wasn't cut. He's got to get himself out of here. It was the bottom line is the writing was on the wall. He wasn't the big man in the division anymore. Last game at Lambeau Field, I've watched the video 100 times. Throws the pick. All the Packers fans go home crying. So it's a new day, baby, and it feels good. And hey, still a fantastic opportunity to build on the roster development that they've gone through the last few years and changing over this after the Patricia and Quinn regime when this team was trash to now having I think the best roster in the NFC North. In the NFC
North, possibly debatable, but you could be right there. And it was a big offseason for the Lions. They bring in Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Cam Sutton, Emmanuel Mosley, Graham Glasgow. Now, of course, they lose Deshaun Elliott. They lose Jamal Williams, DJ Chark. But overall, I think a lot of people will say they've upgraded in the offseason. David Montgomery, Marvin Jones. So let's take a quick look at their depth chart, Knish, and you can walk me through it here and let me know what you think overall of the moves that they've made in the offseason in terms of, what the needs are offensively. Let's take a look at it top to bottom. Let me know what you're seeing here.
No, I mean, Achilles' heel for this team last year was the secondary play has been super questionable. They obviously addressed that aggressively in the offseason. I know some people talked about his character, red flags and that, but to get Chauncey Gardner-Johnson on that type of deal after the year he had in Philly, just a fantastic pickup there. And, they moved on from Jeff Okudah. I don't think any of the losses... listen, I know he was like, Mr. Rah-Rah. Jamal Williams, I was never a Jamal Williams guy. I know people loved him. He was great on camera, great on interviews. He also was great for averaging like 3.2 yards a carry. So I think they upgraded at the running back position there. I like the moves they've made, in a vacuum in the offseason. And some talent accumulation, gave some, depth on the offensive line. They were a little thin there, potentially at guard. Obviously, Graham Glasgow knows the system, comes back in. So I can't, the one area, and I think we'll hit this as we get to the draft, is they don't have a ton of elite defensive line talent. Obviously they took Hutchinson last year. Their front seven is... it's definitely a bit on the thinner side. Some guys that are more what I would call rotational defensive linemen, not, playmakers or superstars. And I think as we get into it here, I know at least what I'll be picking for them and what my fingers will cross the way it shakes out here in the draft will be them reloading on some playmaking talent at edge or defensive line and just getting some more depth there in the front seven, linebacker as well.
So 2 first-round picks for the Lions. Curious what you take of the skill positions on offense, because a lot of the Lions fans, I think, want this addressed, whether that's wide receiver or tight end. But you do have a lot of wide receiver talent available in the first round of this year's draft. You have a couple big-name tight ends as well. Do you potentially use one of those first-round picks on adding a skill position player?
I'm not in love. I'm not totally in love with this wide receiver class in general. I mean, like, if you're I liked what they did, and I know not because J-Mo was hanging out a little too much late with Joey Knish one night at the team facility. That we're not going to have him for the first 6 games of the year. But I thought what they did last year in terms of would I take Jameson Williams over any wide receiver in this draft? Yes. So for me, I'm not gonna just because he was serving a 6-game suspension and that am I gonna run and panic sign your panic draft a wide receiver? No. I think it's also a deeper tight end class. I don't love using a first-round pick on a tight end in general, just in terms of premium position. So I know that's been mocked in some areas. I would still rather focus on kind of reloading the defense, getting some more influence there. I'm okay with that, and I'm okay with. I mean, if you want to tell me, tight end after moving on from Hawkinson is a little thin, or they don't have a top tier talent, I can buy that. I would still rather address that in around in the later rounds than using that pick 18. But it could be a potential for that. I know people, there was some Bijan Robinson rumors early on, then they signed David Montgomery. So, again, I don't see them going running back that early, especially when Swift is still, he's had an up and obviously, he has trouble making it through a season healthy. But he's still a premium talent, and they've kind of unlocked him in this offense when he is healthy. So, again, that's not, those are all areas I would rather address later in the draft than using either of their first-round picks on those. But obviously it's something to look out for at 18.
All right, we're going to get into it right now. For those who are new here, Knish is making the picks for the Detroit Lions. This is as if he was in the shoes of the general manager. It's not about mocking who he thinks is going to go to the Lions. He's putting himself in the GM's shoes. So if you think he did a horrible job, let him know. His Twitter handle is right there up on the screen, or you can do it in the comments below, but also praise him if you think the guy did a good job. I think Eric Eager in the past had a few good drafts for the Chiefs and Eagles people were pretty proud of. So the positive commentary is welcomed as well. We're going to open up Pro Football Focus. Same settings as we always do. We're drafting 7 rounds. It gets pretty, it gets a little dicey near the end there where you don't know where these prospects are, but we'll fill positions of need towards the end. And all the Pro Football Focus settings will remain exactly with what we started. We're going to start the draft on slow just to see what the first few picks are, and then we'll increase the speed as we go on. Any consideration, Knish, to trading up at all, or is that just off the table to start?
No, absolutely not. I'm not. If somebody's going to give me a discount, where I can draw a later round pick, but just in terms of the premium you'd have to pay to get to 2 or to 3, if we're not going to go, which I'm not going quarterback, I don't think the organization's going quarterback either. No, if anything, depending on who is here at 6, you could convince me to trade back on the cheap if. I'll just say if Wilson or Anderson aren't there at 6, then I'm taking as many calls as I can to move back and add some picks. If either one of them are there, though, then we're running to the podium, baby.
All right, let's get it started. It'll start the draft, and we'll hope that that Wilson or Anderson is available at the number 6 spot for the Lions. So Carolina up first. They select Bryce Young, which is highly expected in the market now. Houston goes CJ Stroud, which would be a bit of an underdog there. Will Anderson off the board at 3. Will Levis. And now this is the big one.
Ooh.
Tyree Wilson. So we are left with...
Restart it! Come
9
refresh
trade.
this thing here. Give me another round here. Oh my God. See, now, I'll tell you what I'm doing. Now... I'm hitting the phones. I'm just hitting this is what I'm doing right now is to me because you're either rolling the dice with Jalen Carter or to upgrade the defensive line, interior line, or you're getting a Devin Witherspoon but you've already spent some resources on the secondary, and I'm not convinced. I like Devin Witherspoon as a prospect. I thought he was the best defensive player potentially in the entire Big Ten last year. He was really, really good. Do I think he's like a Sauce Gardner, comes in and he's like an all-pro level? No. So to me, if I'm going to go, listen, I'm going to hope that he follows the traffic laws and is a little bit more of I'm going Jalen Carter. It's they don't have any premium talent at that position. They just don't. Akeem McNeil in that. They've got some guys who are, good rotational players, but you added on the edge last year with Hutchinson. I would have much rather I feel like Wilson and Anderson are both going to be like premium edge guys in the NFL. Carter's got some more question marks, but it's not from his on-field performance. I think you just have to, if you're going to keep the pick, you got to take, I think he's best player available right here, and as a position of need, I got to do it. It comes with a bit of a risk. This Lions organization, do they want to take, I think they're at the point from a culture standpoint where you can take a guy that for like 50 years of Lions football, this was not the case. I think finally you've got the culture established, a little bit of like, I'm not going to say they're, a Belichick level team, but where he would take on guys that had some character questions, bring them in, and they would just perform, and you'd get them on there. So to me, I think you have to take a little bit of the risk with the premium talent there. Give me Jalen Carter.
All right, Jalen Carter getting drafted. By the way, just reading the PFF write-up on Jalen Carter, they believe he's the best defensive tackle prospects. It's Quinnen Williams, and one of the highest that they've graded since 2014. Obviously, there's inherent risk with any prospect, but I think a lot of Lions fans would be happy with that pick in terms of filling a need on the interior. Broderick Jones, 11. Christian Gonzalez, 12. Packers, we know that they already have this swap. That's great. Paris Johnson, Nolan Smith. Bijan goes to the Jets at 15. Joey Porter, 16th. Darnell Wright. And now we're on the clock again. I'm going to increase the speed going forwards so we can get through the picks quicker afterwards. But here's who we have available to us. Dalton Kincaid, Kalia Cansey, Brian Branch, Miles Murphy, Deonte Banks, Michael Mayer, Jordan Addison, Anton Harrison, Quentin Johnson, Lucas Van Ness down here, who's been mocked pretty highly in a lot of mocks, but PFF doesn't like him, and the list goes on and on. So what are we thinking here, Kanish?
Listen, this is to me. I'm gonna double dip there in the first. If they got Miles Murphy falling to me here, I know a lot of people are mocking either tight end, skill talent, and that. Give me Miles Murphy there. We're gonna keep building on the defensive line. I think you're getting a little bit of value with him fall into that spot. And if I'm not getting my edge player, if I'm not gonna get a Anderson or a Wilson there at 6, then I'm adding, and now I've gone, assuming that you hit on both of these, I've gone from my defensive line being maybe the weakest position group on the team to an immediate strength here with Carter and Murphy. Both guys who I think are premium level talents and can come, their issues have been more a little bit off the field or a little bit more, motivational. Mm-hmm. I'm okay with taking risk on those guys. So, and I think the organization's at that point where they can, and, you go from a defensive line that's maybe has one high level playmaker and add 2 pieces. I think that's all day. I like going trenches in round 1, number 1 to begin with too. I think that's where the value is. So yeah, give me Miles Murphy.
All right, Miles Murphy out of Clemson. His comp from PFF was Rashawn Gary. I think Lions fans would be pretty happy if he turned into Rashawn Gary. So, not that these are just like comps; they don't mean anything, but throw it out there. All right, we're on pick 48. Lots of options available here. Darnell Washington, Josh
baby.
Downs, receiver out of North Carolina. Jack Campbell is there. I know they re-signed Alex Anzalone, the Lions, but I think they could maybe use a little bit of linebacking help. Sam Laporta in this range as well. Probably a little bit too high for DJ Turner. I know he's probably one guy that you'd love to see just because he's a Michigan alum. But talk me through it here. What are you thinking right out of the gate here, Kanish?
Darnell Washington has fallen to me right here. We've got a need at tight end. He is legit. I think he's my favorite tight end prospect in this draft for explosiveness, a guy that can stretch the field, but also block. This draft, I'll tell you what, if it shapes up like this, Joey K is going to be very happy. And I'm making my own pick. So, that obviously I would be very happy, but I love it. I think, I think a little bit of a luxury piece to me. I think he's a guy who blocked at Georgia. It's just metrics and explosiveness off the charts for this type of position. Difference maker in terms of can add to the time, and something that they don't. They're kind of lacking a little bit at that position. Right now the depth chart is kind of like just a guys type of thing at tight end. I think you add this to this offense. I love it. I think he has a chance to be like a special player at that position. So, the other options of it, I don't love any of the wide receiver options that have fallen here, or, the running back options. Sam Laporta is a guy, I know he's very, very solid at Iowa. I'm not, for his ceiling to me isn't a guy that I want to take here at this position. And you mentioned the Michigan cornerback. Again, that's a guy, DJ Turner, who I watched a ton of. Again, ran 4.26. Gotta love the speed. I think I don't think he's ever going to be a cornerback one in the NFL. He's a guy who had Quentin Johnson in the bowl game just toasted him. He had problems matching up and, playing the ball against bigger wide receivers. I think he's a cornerback too. Little high for me for him. Give me Darnell Washington there at 48. I like it. I like it quite a bit. And I think we've added like 3 high-end and again, this people don't know how Joey K would run there. It would be like the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't care about any off-the-field stuff. I don't care if you go gambling, you go, you like your drinks, you like women. I don't care about that. Are you a premium position and you have talent? Can you play football? That's all I care about. That's what we're adding, and we have upgraded the talent with a bunch of elite playmakers here at the first 3 picks.
Yeah, and Darnell Washington, in a lot of the more recent mocks, has been going early second round, and getting him mid-second round, I think, is pretty good value. So Sam Laporta still on the board. You have a couple corner options, DJ Turner, Tyreek Stevenson. Nathaniel Dell is a burner. This might be a little bit too high for him at this point. Just continuing to scroll through. Keanu Benton of Wisconsin, right around this range, inside, player on the defensive line. Diane Henley, linebacker. I'm just scrolling through so you can take it all in.
I'm going to go, but... a guy, we scroll up a little bit, Zach Charbonnet at running back. This is the position now where I feel okay adding to the running back room. He's a guy, I loved his skill set. He was at Michigan for a year. They basically, like, the depth chart was so filled, they wanted to do, 3 different guys there. He wanted his own, goes to UCLA, and blows up. I think he's got the size that I like to take on a bunch of carry. Gives you a little bit of a versatility between the other guys they have. Can kind of basically do it all from the back. As you said, soft hands there. He's got enough speed, but also can take up played in kind of a similar, like a more modern, the Chip Kelly offense. So I like him a lot. I think drafting him now basically means that I'm not going to be paying DeAndre Swift, a market value, and I think that's okay. I think, if the option is there, to me, I think you reset instead of extending, giving DeAndre Swift, a 3-4 year deal. This is a pick that I'm probably making, and with looking forward to moving on from a DeAndre Swift. Guy hasn't been able to stay on the field. I like him. If I can get him on a cheap deal or something, then should I take him? But this gives me the option that I can move on from Swift if I need to. Also gives me the backfield depth that I like, and I like him as a player. I think he's a very, very talented guy and kind of a do-it-all back. So yeah, give me him here, and I like where we're going with this.
All right, Zach Charbonnet going to the Detroit Lions. This draft is going a little bit too well for the Lions for my liking, if I'm being completely honest, as a Cowboys fan. NFC rival. We're going to number 81 here now. And let's see who's available at number 81, which is the middle of the 3rd round. So you got a couple receiver options in Rashee Rice and Marvin Mims, some corner options, Travius Hodges-Tomlinson, nephew of LaDainian Tomlinson, Sidney Brown at safety, Chandler Zavala, interior lineman, another receiver, Michael Wilson, Tanner McKee, a quarterback. If you wanted to build the quarterback depth chart, throw it over to you, Kanish.
You know what? I'm gonna go DeMarvion Overshown there, linebacker for time. This is the range where I was looking to get into the the linebacker round where I feel it's a guy 3rd round. I don't want to spend premium dollar, but this team needs linebacker depth. I know they were starting everybody, Malcolm Rodriguez, everybody's favorite last year. They paid Alex Alzoni kind of a lot of money, and they don't have. And I'll be honest, I mean, he's a guy. I think they paid him a little too much money for my taste. But this is a guy who's super talented. Again, this was like athleticism, speed, but wasn't always, in terms of like production. He's a little bit, he's slim for, the linebacker role here. But to me, that's okay as far as like, I'd rather prefer, athleticism and that, and kind of the lengths and some of the, as you said, the rangy, some of the coverage skills, like safety skills. So a little undersized, but okay, because I'm not playing him here to, jump in to be a middle linebacker and stop the run. So to me, I think another guy who can add to the linebacker depth. We need some linebacker depth, and again, a guy with a ton of talent. That I'm not too worried about the size issues there, especially with kind of the system that run. I mean, Lions aren't a team that's loading up, and that neck brace middle linebacker is kind of dead in the league anyway. So give me a guy with some talent that maybe underperformed a little bit at Texas.
Okay, DeMarvion Overshown gets drafted at number 81. There's a big gap here for the Lions, so we're going to skim through it pretty quickly, down to 152. And while we do this, Kanish, is there any thought to taking up like potentially a project late round quarterback here? Because when I do these mock drafts with other people, this is typically the range now when we get into the later rounds where they're like, oh, is Stetson Bennett on the board? Can I draft Stetson Bennett? What are you thinking in terms of the Lions and potentially taking on a project QB in this range?
You know what? I listen, I'm not opposed to it per se, but the hit rate of these guys, like people use these like, basically the, some of the examples of the past of like, like the Tom Brady's, or people want to use Brock Purdy. I think your hit rate on the quarterbacks, like once you get out of like the top, like 90, 100 picks, is just so low. The position is relatively scouted well. Like, I don't know. Are we going to find a quarterback here that's going to make a difference to me? Probably not. But I see a guy already who I'm very interested in. We can scroll down here. There's a Michigan man there that I like quite a bit. And even though it's not a position of instant need, that I think we're going to be going. We can see who else. Scroll down a little bit more and see who's available. But yeah, Oluwatini. A Michigan, he was transferred in from Virginia, was like the ultimate like team captain, had a great year on Michigan's offensive line. They've done a great job developing, offensive linemen, especially the last few years, in terms of, there's a couple of gears. I like Parker Washington and Keaton Mitchell, two guys I like as well, that from a talent standpoint, hopefully we got another pick coming up here. I'll take one of those guys, but, so yeah, no, I'm gonna go. Oh man, now this is tough here because I fall in love with too much of this late round guys that like never actually pan out, but like they're a sleeper. But no, right. Give me Oluwatini there. Again, center not an instant need, but I think he's a guy who can also transition to play a little bit of guard as well. If you need him, can kind of play at a few spots on the line. So good depth piece. I like one of the maybe areas of weakness there was interior offensive line depth on the line. I know they brought back Glasgow, but yeah, give me Oluwatini there. I like getting him in this range. I think it's a value. I think he's a guy who can come in and kind of be like an instant NFL player if you needed him to. So yeah, that's good value for me. Washington would be, I love Keaton Mitchell's skill set. If we didn't already take a back, I would have went Keaton Mitchell here. But yeah, that's another one that I would be on the lookout. And the wide, I just don't love the wide. I know, could we use a depth piece at wide receiver? I don't love this wide receiver class. And Parker Washington's a guy who kind of didn't little underperformance at Penn State, has some talent, but yeah, I'm okay with passing on it there. Yeah, so it's oh boy, who do we? Is that the Monroe Cropper there from Fresno? What are you able to It's a totally sort on wide receiver just to see the full list of guys that are. Was Mike Morris is there still edge for
here's who
Michigan?
we
I feel
got.
like I'm gonna go Michigan on but let's see what we got.
So this is wide receiver class available.
That's we got to go. I mean, some of these guys we really get into the thick of it there. I'll take Parker Washington. It's good enough for me to still in this range. That's probably Cropper at Fresno. I watched so many Fresno State games, but he never struck me as a guy that was a major NFL thing. But yeah, I think Parker Washington, kind of the last of the guys here that can make a somewhat of a a year one impact there. So yeah, a little bit of value for me. We'll take Washington there.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty solid pick. I mean, he typically goes in the 4th round, and you have him available in the 5th. That's not to say that he's going to be a great receiver or anything, but just positional value, I think that's solid. So we're in round 6, pick 6 right here, 183 overall.
I don't give a damn. I'm doubling up. Give me Keaton Mitchell. I love this guy's skill set. He was fantastic at East Carolina. 2 backs, people are going to crush him. I will tell you, this is what we call the see ya, Mr. Swift. Have a great career. And also, listen, I made some bear jokes about the David Montgomery thing. To be honest with you, if we cut David Montgomery after year 1, I'm not going to be crying. Listen, Mitchell's undersized. He's only 5'8", 179. Incredible. He was the entire East Carolina offense. Now I think you've got your 1-2 running back combo for the next year. This is I'm telling you what I'm doing. I'm taking Keaton Mitchell and Charbonnet, and I'm not paying another dime for a running back. I'm cutting Montgomery after year 1. I'm saying DeAndre Swift, have a great, we love you, but have a good somewhere else. To me, he's more of a 3rd down back type of guy. But I love his skill set. Probably not a guy who's ever going to get you 54 carries of 10 plus yards. I mean, just explosive home run hitter. A little bit of I just like this guy too much to pass on him again. And to me, this is what I'm doing. Now I've got 2 running backs for the next 3-4 years on the cheap that I've taken 2nd and 5th round. I'm not spending any more money on open market running backs. Give me Keaton Mitchell, and I've revamped our running back room to a very much more cost friendly.
All right, so 194 is going to be the last pick for the Lions, which is the middle of the 6th round. And this is what I was talking about, project quarterbacks, right? Dorian Thompson-Robinson is available here.
Sort on quarterback for him. See who we got.
You want to sort? Okay.
Yeah, we'll take it. Who's left here on the board? Oh, Stetson Bennett. Oh, boy. It's, yikes. Yeah. Woo! I mean, I'm not. We can DTR, listen, do I think that first of all, he's the only guy on this list who I would even draft, literally the only guy draft that at all. The rest of them would be undrafted free agents. He improved under Chip Kelly. Yeah, I think there were some questions around how seriously he took football early in his career. He really improved his game going forward. He's got some mobility, touch undersized, but yeah, capable backup with some developmental potential is probably how I would rate him there. Again, if you can get a backups on the cheap, this is another position there where I don't want to spend a bunch of money on a backup quarterback. So to me, give me some DTR here, developmental guy, adds a little bit of a different skill set than Goff has. Don't think he can ever be a QB1 in the league, but at this point, I'm just looking for a cheap guy I can roster to be my QB2 for whatever we're paying a 6th round here, $100,000 a year or something. So yeah, give me some DTR and hopefully we can save some money on backup QB going forward. But I like this draft and I like it a lot.
Okay, so it's going to simulate right through the end of the draft. Pro Football Focus is going to give you an overall grade and grade all of your decisions based off of obviously their own numbers, but also how you did in terms of value. But you feel like you did pretty good overall. You feel confident that you'd be happy with this draft.
I love this draft, and I think it's what we did. We took some risks on some guys who can be a little sketchy. Again, if Joey K is running your organization, I like football players. I like talented football players. I like athletes, high-end talent, and to me, you just that is my priority number one. You've already got some of the culture and foundation built in there, so I'm not I'm fine taking a little bit of a risk on guys that, have some, rough around the edges here. But I think we got a ton of talent, speed, athleticism, some of the areas that I think the roster needs to be upgraded. I think we got value at the right spot. So, yeah, I like this a lot. Again, I'd prefer an Anderson or a Wilson at 6 if one of them fall. If not, hey, you got to do what you got to do there as far as you listen. Hey, I don't know whether to feel good or bad that Pro Football Focus likes my draft so much, but that I mean, there's some guys on Twitter that would say Pro Football Focus, getting a great grade by them might not be great, but yeah, I mean, listen. A-, baby. That's better than Joey K's college GPA. So hey, we'll take it here. I think we got, again, primary was to get more athletic, to get more of the Quick Dish, the high end ceiling guys that can be premium playmakers. Lions have a lot of guys. That's why I like the Gardner Johnsons. They have a lot of above average guys that are just above average players, playing that. They don't have a ton of elite level talent. So for me, I'm okay taking the risk on some guys because you need some of that. A Jalen Carter, or Darnell Washington, guys that can be elite level athletes that have a chance to be one of the best in the league at their position, as opposed to pretty good. So yeah, I'm okay taking. I think you've got the foundation built. It's a good draft to take some risk here on the high end talent.
So I could say for sure this is the first draft of all the mock drafts we've done where 2 running backs have gone off the board. I'm not necessarily commenting or saying that's a bad thing, but in the football community, sometimes people are
listen, I hear you.
Backs don't matter.
I love Keaton Mitchell. I love him. I couldn't pass on him again. He kept showing up there. If I wouldn't have taken Charbonnet, listen, could you talk me into switching the Charbonnet pick to it if I knew Keaton Mitchell was going to be there later? Yes, but I'm not. And listen, for all the people, the running back, all I did was just 24 and beyond, take our running back, average salary to, $300,000. So, listen, again, I know we're going to be paying the premium in year 1 here with, the running backs on the roster, but going forward, I've reshaped our running back room with some, using some late-round picks, and I'm not investing any more dollars into the position, because I think they're going to move on from Swift after this year. And with this draft, we're definitely moving on from him.
If you like this draft and this content, make sure you smash that like button here on YouTube. And of course, subscribe to the Forward Progress channel. We've done a ton of these mock drafts leading up to the NFL draft, so you can check that out. There's a playlist on the clock right here on Forward Progress. And of course, last but not least, let Kanish know how you think he did in the comments below. Be truthful. I mean, listen, people destroyed me for the New England Patriots draft this year. It is what it is. I had better drafts afterwards, so let us know. We do value the feedback. And of course, make sure you're subscribed here to Forward Progress. This has been On the Clock with the Detroit Lions on Forward Progress.
Restore it, baby. NFC champs.